3 years ago, if you'd told me that today I would be sitting down to review a Bulgarian film, I'd have been like, I guess. What happened? Hi guys, my name's Lamont. Welcome to the Reykjavik Review, where I discuss and review series and TV shows and series are the same thing. Films and series that are not in English, such as this one, Glory, which is in Bulgarian and you can watch it on Stan. And it, of course, has English subtitles, because otherwise I wouldn't really know what it was about. Actually, on that, I'm not sure I know what it's about anyway. Glory is about a man who is on the lowest rung of the social ladder. He is a railroad worker. He has an extremely debilitating stutter. He can barely get through a sentence, so people can't really understand him most of the time. And somehow he gets into a kind of fight, a sort of tussle, a battle over a watch with someone on one of the highest rungs of the ladder of society. She is a PR manager for the Transport Bureau of the government. This film is really interesting, and I don't mean that in the kind of euphemism way of like, yeah, it wasn't good, but it was interesting. I don't mean that. I mean that I'm still thinking about it, and I watched it about a week ago, and I feel like I could watch it 2 or 3 more times and get a bit of a different reading on it every time. And I feel like if different people watch this, they will understand it and interpret it differently. And I mean that in a different way to the way I would mean it with, say, Parasite. If you're not familiar with Parasite, it came out in 2019. It's a Korean film, and it was extremely successful, even here in the West. It got rave reviews, won a couple of Oscars. Chris Stuckman gave it an A+ in his review. I didn't review that film deliberately because when I watched it, I wasn't really sure what to make of it. I felt like it was saying something quite deep that I didn't really understand. I kind of saw that it was hinting something at me, and I was like, I don't get it. So I didn't feel like I was in a place to review it because I thought my review would just sound stupid in that it was like, I don't get it. With this film, there's different ways you could interpret it. Even if you feel you know what's going on completely, you still don't feel like there's only one way of interpreting this film. Increasingly, as we move towards the end, there's just more and more ambiguity about what certain things mean, and you could spend quite a bit of time discussing it with friends. So it's really interesting in the good way, not in the not good way. I know that I've made the film sound vague so far, but trust me, that's just more my style of reviewing it. That is not the film at all. The film is extremely precise. It's not vague in what happens or how it happens. It's very deliberate. Everything's placed in, all the little things in the background, all the sounds, even like tiny bits of dialogue that you barely hear. It's all very deliberate. What is open is how you can interpret it. And being Bulgarian, you might even be tempted to cut this film some slack for anything amateurish, but amazingly, there's nothing amateurish here. The performance of the main actor, Stefan, I won't try to say his last name, is absolutely incredible. It's genuinely one of the best performances I've ever seen, because I can only assume that this guy does not actually have a stutter, but it's easily the best movie stutter I've ever seen, and that includes Colin Firth in, what's the film called? The King's Speech. I actually have a friend who has a stutter, and I remember talking to him about The King's Speech. He said that Colin Firth nailed everything except one thing, and that's kind of the main thing of having a stutter, which is that when you actually do get the words out, it's kind of like releasing your thumb off the end of a hose that you've been blocking off. It all comes out at once. And he said that Colin Firth just couldn't get that kind of sudden burst at the end. He couldn't quite get it right. Now, obviously I don't speak Bulgarian, but the performance of this actor here, it's unbelievable that he doesn't have a stutter, really. It's an amazing performance. The main actress, I guess the other head role, she's also good. I mean, she needs to be good. She's got a certain character to portray that's, I won't give it away, but it's quite important for the film. And she does it well. She's nothing compared to him, but then again, she doesn't have as much to work with as him. It's 2 very good performances. There's a couple of other side performances that are also great. This is a really well executed film in basically all the ways that it could be. The thing about Glory is that nothing feels fake. there are some pretty bizarre and kind of unexpected things happen, but instead of watching them and thinking, well, that would never happen, you just watch them and think, well, now I'm interested as to what happens next. And it's also quite funny, even though it's very dark in places and it's got a kind of depressing feel. It's sort of hard to describe. There are some scenes that genuinely had me laughing, just sitting there by myself, and I'm laughing out loud at what's going on. That's not to say that this film is perfect. Some of the realism means that engagement is sacrificed. At times you feel like you're just sitting, watching things play out. It is interesting, but it's not thrilling. But then the craft, the essential thing of the film, is done right. Whose point of view we see, how characters make decisions, narrative causality. To me, those things need to be in place before I can enjoy a film. No matter how exciting you think you're making a film, if it doesn't make sense, if characters do things because the writers simply want them to, then I'm not going to care. And as a result of that, I would have to say that Glory, which had a box office total of, wait for it, $87,000. $87,000 was its box office total worldwide for this film. It is better than 90% of the films that have been at the cinema in the last year. So given all that, I would therefore suggest that you give Glory a go because, well, let's face it, we're all watching a few more movies these days. We're all pretty much under house arrest. So if you're looking to get into the wonderful world of art house Bulgarian cinema, then this is definitely a good way to do it. So guys, if you like this and you want to see more of it, then make sure you subscribe and hit the like button so that the algorithm's like, hey, you like films from this videos from this guy. And also check out my other channel if you're interested in learning Bulgarian, why not? Over at Days of French and Swedish, it's a channel about language learning, and I also do some other stuff, some comedy and some music and yeah, just some stuff. I appreciate you watching, thanks very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.